Give us a thumbs up.
Good morning. The meeting is now called to order. We'll start with the roll call.
Madam Chair Janet Roberts.
Here.
Vice Chair Weston Jesse.
Here.
Mr. Ronald Pearson.
Here.
Ms. Betsy D. Moore.
Here.
A quorum is established.
Now we will have our information. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this another day and for the opportunity to come together to work toward the betterment of our school division. We ask you to direct our thoughts and our minds, that we can do what is best interest of the children of those in the house. These are all blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Our mission in Greensville County is together with families in the community. GCPS is committed to providing a safe, rigorous, student-centered environment that empowers learners. Our vision, cultivating excellence, transforming lives, and impacting futures.
This time we will open the meeting for public hearing. If there are any comments or remarks.
Mr. Ribbon, is there anyone online?
Seeing none, we'll move forward.
Madam Chair, and to the board, I would like to begin the budget presentation for the board's consideration as we move into the fiscal year 24-25. I would like to start, I just read our vision and our mission statement. And again, I can't thank the committee enough for coming together, creating our new vision and our mission statement. Just like to always, and thank the board. The board was featured on the Virginia School Board Association's website, and we've been definitely looked at because of the leadership of the board, and been invited to their fiscal cohort because of the management that the board is doing. We also want to bring, as we were featured in the Independent Messenger throughout the Commonwealth, and even on the VSBA website, GCPS named one of the most improved school divisions in the Commonwealth. And thank you for the governance and leadership that this board exhibits. Yes. As always, there is a fiscal cliff when we're talking about budgets. One of the things I like to highlight is the JMOC study that has been produced and is out there for reading. Our ESSA funds that are ending, and they end on September 2024. This is the third and final round, and we are 70% expended on our ESSA funds up to date. And there's always growing instructional needs to address learning loss. The Virginia Literacy Act is a major component that we're looking at, where we're looking at and addressing chronic absenteeism, and we're also looking at how we are tackling learning loss for the remaining funds that are in ESSA. And as always, there's rising costs. Once again, gas has skyrocketed to 329 cents, 350 cents in some cases that I see across as we look at preparing a budget for the upcoming fiscal year. The General Assembly completed the state budget. Now it's going to the legislative committee, and in that assembly, what is included? What's included in the governor's biennial budget is a 3% salary increase for teachers. Also changes in how ELL students are counted and funded, changes in how at-risk add-on is determined and funded, and this is also placed in the SOQ, and that's standards of quality, and to restore general fund payments in lieu of sales tax. Our why, as always, our staff, teachers, and our students. I want to highlight the changes over time. as we in Greensville County Public Schools are experiencing enrollment decline. And I highlighted 2021 because for the 21-22 fiscal year was the first time that we prepared a budget under 2,000 students. And if you can look at the trend since 2017, 2018, it is a decline. And right now, K-12 enrollment is at 1,859, 1,859, to give the board the historical context and perspective on where we are. And since 2021, if you look at the numbers of 2026, 1954, 1919, and 23, 24, and we're at 1,859, and projections indicate when we look that we will be in a decline for the next 5 to 7 years. And this is critical because when you look at where we are, it's based upon the funding that we receive from the state. What our priorities identified with educator excellence, premier student services and programs, and as always, school safety and security. Our projected revenues as we look across, and the projected revenues in the general fund is the money that we predict to receive. And we look at 348,000. This is an example. For example, we sold all those older vehicles that were on the highway. So this is some example of the local funds that we generate locally. State funding, if you look at their projection, 18,080,000. Local sales tax, we project 1,298,600. School nutrition, and again, we are a CEP division, community eligibility, which means all of our students receive lunch and breakfast at no charge. Our ESSER funding, you see the decline, as I mentioned, because the ESSER funds expire in September 2024. And I placed our current county contribution at 6,129,850 and our current city contribution at 4,308,931, giving us a total projected revenue of $36,410,017. Broken down in categorically the percentages that we receive from the city, the county, federal, state, food service, and local. We've done some cost-cutting initiatives. Invested in energy efficient infrastructures. Can't thank the maintenance staff enough, replacing those boilers at Greensville County High School. Looking at always energy efficient down to the lighting that we have, moving to LED lighting. Renegotiated contracts and refinance debt. The closure of Belfield. And I've placed once again proposed new central office, which was a conversation that was held in 21-22. And received competitive grants, and we have leased our transportation fleet out in the mode of vehicles. And we're looking at a bus lease coming up as we have 15 school buses that are on the road with over 250,000 miles on them. Also, more money is being spent in mental health. Since COVID-19, mental health has been a component not only with our students, but with our faculty, and as we look across our community as well. School safety, transportation, technology, instruction, and teacher salaries so that we can remain competitive in Region 8. Additional rising costs that are impacting the budget. Our health insurance renewal. We got the numbers in, and our health insurance is predicted to go up by 8.8%. This is a slight decrease from last year, as that was 11% last year. And when you look at the rising costs, it is due to about 10 claims that have come and hit as we relate to who's on our insurance. A factor is that we have 489 employees, 227 take the insurance. What are we asking for in fiscal year 25. We're asking for the budget to cover the 3% increase that the governor is asking for teacher salaries, para salaries, bus driver salaries, and across all faculty and staff here in Greensville County Public Schools. As you know, the standards of quality money can only be used for those positions in the standards of quality, which addresses our certified staff. And also the 8.8% increase for health insurance, and a few other things, and I place those in front of the board, as you can see. The 8%, we're asking additionally for the component of the salary increase, funds to continue our AVID program. Our buses, as we talked about, the average bus is running about $120,000 to $30,000. And as we look across the board, we want to include our capital improvement projects in the amount of $500,000 that we are asking and seeking for assistance with the city and the county. And it's in our additional costs that we would look at. So we're asking for a total of $4,502,828 in addition to what we received. And that component comes on this slide right here. Our current county contribution and our current city contribution. And these are those numbers. At this time, I want to ask the board, are there any questions about what we're asking?
So, quick question.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna ask them to, an additional, divide that proportion of what they've been doing based on what determined factor.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. So when we look at the determining factor, for the last 2 years, it's been based on ADM. So we're asking based upon ADM. And also, I have to be remiss if I didn't say this, there's a component called LCI, which is Local Composite Index, but we have been receiving it based upon ADM. And I will go back to this slide. Enrollment. So when you look at where we are categorically, so right now, there are 967 students from the county and 892 from the city. So when you look at those numbers, it is based upon application membership. And the key factor of the board, please keep in mind that these numbers represent kindergarten to 12th grade. Our pre-K program receives its funding and it's a standalone funding source. But currently, to your question, Mr. Pearson, 967, 892, giving us an enrollment of 1,800. And once again, in the Governor Young budget, 3%. And again, I put this slide up here because again, when we look at, when you talk about an increase for state employees and state supported local employees, the SOQ recognized instructional support positions, which will go into effect July 1st, 2024. And that's key to remember because if we do not get the component of the funding for the local match and all the components to give the raise, then we have to return that money back to the state. It cannot give it. I'll say this, not since I've been here. Here are the premier student programs that we mentioned, AVID and Freshman Academy. our partnership with communities in schools. And next year, we're looking to increase our CIS coordinators to 3. And our CIS coordinator at the high school has definitely assisted us in the component of the behaviors, and each CIS coordinator is responsible for 10% of the school's population. In transportation and services, we like to put that on a 3-year cycle, 3 to 5 year cycle, where we obtain 3 new school buses annually, and that'll be at the cost of $160,000 each. Also, we'd like to increase our school safety officers. Right now, we have 3 school resource officers that we are so happy to have our partnership with the sheriff's office. And what we have also would be 4 safety and security officers, but they're currently part-time. And what we are asking is to make those security officers full-time in this budget for the 24-25 fiscal year. They currently work 5 to 6 hours per day. Also, capital improvements. One of the things that you look at that we would like to have in consideration is the component of our football stadium bleachers and press box is aging, and they're not ADA compliant. When you come into the stadium, you will see a row of about 6 stands that we have wood, and the wood is rotting, and we would like to be able to replace those bleachers for the football stadium. Also, the bleachers in the gym. Currently, they are hard to pull out, and it's just age and wearing over time. Also, the windows at the high school. Those are the original windows that have been there since the building. If you look at the Wyatt Middle School with the capital improvement project that was given there, it's basically the same building. And therefore, those windows at the high school are definitely not energy efficient. We like to add hot water heaters to the gym, the CTE building, and also the field house, and continue to work on our interior doors. Also, we have 10 rooftop units at Wyatt that we want to keep and monitor, look at and monitor. A generator at the elementary school, and our elevators on each campus. We want to make sure that we keep those modernized. Additional improvements include relocating the school board office, replace the electrical plumbing for the warehouse, and replace interior lighting LED division-wide. Once again, our projected expenditures. And when you see that $1 billion for debt services, that is why. When we refinance the loan, just say when we save approximately $250,000. Predicted project expenditures. Broken down salary costs. As you can see, the bulk of our salaries are in instruction, which relate to our teachers' salaries, our para salaries, $11,869,660. And that's the budget presentation. And again, I've asked the board, do they have any questions? And I'll put on it what we are seeking assistance for. And this is that slide that we are asking our partners with the city and the county. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Can we go back to our projected revenues? That's $36,410,017. Is this correct?
Yes, sir.
And go to our projected expenses. $42,870,151. So how are we gonna balance that?
Ms. Council, and so when we're looking at our spending expenditures, we are working and we're going to add in what we receive federal, because we do not have that on this presentation time. Our Title I, Title II funding, Title IV, Title V.
And that will make up the difference.
Yes, sir. The federal ones expire in October.
Shouldn't we have that added in there somewhere?
We will add it in there, yes, sir.
That will be done before we do our joint presentation.
Absolutely.
Okay. One of the things, those capital improvements,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna have itemize what we're asking for to improve each line.
That's correct, sir. And again, it's the spirit of always transparency. So when they say, when anyone asks us, what do you spend the money? And we totally earmark it once we know what we're going to spend it on. So for example, once we put out an RFP to have the bleachers, if we get the capital improvement project, and of course, we say we spent X amount, and we keep those so that everyone that asks can see exactly what we're spending. For example, the boilers was a big issue. We had to replace all of the boilers at the Greensville County High School.
So based on our projected budget, are we feeling any stress about the funding?
I don't think she would feeling stress, Madam Chair, is the component of staying, keeping our teachers and faculty and staff in a, where we can continue to hopefully receive, the projected increases that city government's budget, which makes us competitive along Corridor 58. And when I say Corridor 58, I'm speaking, it's basically Brunswick, Sussex, Greensville County, Southampton, Surrey. Because when you get to Suffolk, Suffolk has more students than all of us combined. And that makes a component that we can say we're staying competitive. And also regionally. Region 8 is a long region, Longwood, Halifax, Lunenburg. So we stay competitive regionally and locally on Corridor 58. And again, the outlier starts when we hit Suffolk, because they have over 20 schools and a student enrollment of over 14,000. For example, we're at 1859, Brunswick is at 1,400. Sussex is a little 1,200, Surrey 867. So that's about it. Yeah, to stay competitive. Yes.
And the debt that we're renegotiating contracts.
Yes, sir. So we refinanced the debt service that's left over from White. We still over $1 million for the work that was done to White about 7 weeks ago. There's no debt for the other schools. Any more questions from the board?
I just asked you to make those components.
Absolutely.
And so that it balances those types of expenses.
And we'll put those what we receive. And what we'll do, Mr. Bishop, is look at those numbers that we received this fiscal year, and generally that's what we have received. Thank you. Yes. At this time, I'd like to move to our policy updates.
Okay, now is the time I think we're gonna use to work through the, the policy updates from February for the SBA. In the last meeting, we talked about, subcommittees, Reed Warren, Vice Chair Jesse has agreed to sit on the policy committee. So Dr. Edwards, I don't know if this time we're actually working or just talking about what the process will look like.
At this time, we're talking about what the process would look like since the board has established the committees that we're on. This was Mr. Jesse.
So in your packets are the 45 policies from February's update from the SBA. You have strike through. The red line document is the big packet that I passed through. And what we need to talk about, or I guess come back together on things we want to adopt with the changes that were made by the SBA. All revisions have been reviewed for legality. And the changes were based on changes in law and regulation.
Is there a deadline to
Next board meeting.
that, so we would have to employ?
Should be April 15th.
And also to the policy committee, the administrative team will be also reviewing the policies. And then we can draw notes so that we can all be on the board with what the board desires as it relates to the policy changes and when we come for our next board.
At this time, we'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
The moving comment second, and we go into closed session, all in favor, signify by saying aye.